Beneath the surface of our everyday reactions lies a story untold, a narrative woven from whispers of our past, where childhood murmurs echo into the present. Emotional reactivity is not a sign of immaturity, it is the tremor of ancient grief, the quickness of flames igniting in the atmosphere of your being. Tonight we journey into the origins of your emotional storms, witnessing not just sparks but the gentle reminders of unhealed histories. As the shadows dance and the silence speaks, we'll listen to what your body has long remembered, exploring the profound archives etched into your soul, waiting to be understood. As we embark on this introspective journey, we find ourselves navigating the hidden corridors of our emotional landscape, a sacred realm often cloaked in shadow and intrigue. Emotional reactivity, akin to a sudden, uncontrollable spark, bursts forth before our conscious mind can intervene. It might seem like a flaw at first, but it is truly a vital signal, a whisper from the past, yearning for recognition and integration. The quickness of flame is both a natural response and a guiding light to deeper layers of our psyche. In moments of emotional upheaval, we are swept off our grounded centre, caught in a whirlwind igniting like dry tinder in a fire. This immediate spark, a conditioned response rooted in our earliest experiences, is shaped by the love, care, neglect, or trauma encountered in our infancy. These early interactions fashion our nervous systems into blueprints, dictating our unconscious responses throughout life. Acknowledging these ancient scripts opens paths to personal transformation. Our initial encounters with life's complexities lay the groundwork for our emotional, reactive patterns, long before we possess cognitive maturity. These experiences craft the architecture of our inner world, constructing frameworks dictating our present responses. In the quiet corridors of our minds, whispers from our formative years echo, replaying scripts of survival as swiftly as a match struck in darkness. Our parents and environments are unwitting architects of these frameworks, shaping our perception and interaction with the world. These architects blend nurturing gestures with moments of neglect or misunderstanding, etching a dichotomy onto our hearts. When facing situations reminiscent of these pivotal moments, our scripts activate, bridging past and present. Within this fusion lies the root of our reactivity, not as a choice but as inheritance, a reflex born from ancestral need. By delving into this architecture, we unveil the foundations of our emotional fire, inviting healing where it is much needed. Much like the unyielding laws of a pirate's code that dictate survival, our nervous system follows a set of unwritten regulations. These laws condition us to respond swiftly and without question to perceived threats. From the gentle rhythm of a lullaby to the stern reprimand's command, each interaction sows seeds of conditioned responses. This intricate dance of triggers and reactions becomes a nearly sacred ritual, deeply imprinted within our nervous system's folds. Our autonomic responses, whether comfort from a mother's touch or a chill from disapproval, create neural pathways that pave the way for emotional reflexes. In moments of peace, it resembles a symphony's ebb and flow. In turmoil, it transforms into cacophony. Past encounters whisper and lay dormant, until reignited by present experiences, driving our reflexive dance of emotions. Acknowledging this code allows us to gently rewrite its passages, steering our ship with mindful presence rather than inherited haste. In the interplay of fire and reason, we witness the delicate balance emotions must navigate. Emotional reactivity mimics a flame's unpredictability, igniting and consuming quickly, spreading faster than reason can quell. It reminds us that, like fire, emotions possess potential for both chaos and clarity. Our task is understanding this dual nature, embracing moments of brilliance without being consumed by the blaze. When reason approaches with patient caution, it holds potential to tame the fire without extinguishing its light. A pause, a deep breath, or gentle acknowledgement of our emotional state can serve as a bridge, allowing reason to temper reactivity with wisdom. Through mindful engagement, we cultivate the ability to transform fiery responses into insightful reflections, fostering personal growth and emotional resilience. Thus, we learn to dance gracefully amidst the flames, navigating our emotional terrain with poise and understanding. Emotional reactivity speaks a language of its own, in visceral sensations and intuitive knowing. When we learn to truly listen to these signals, we unlock profound communication with our inner selves. These signals, often mistaken for flaws, become guideposts marking paths toward healing and self-discovery. Quickness of flame becomes a means for deeper understanding rather than a source of shame. Silence holds power to decipher this language, to pause amidst reactivity and seek clarity. Signals from body and mind, be it a flaring heartbeat or clenching fist, are echoes of untold stories, not random or inconsequential. Tuning into these cues grants insight into our depths, translating signals into wisdom, navigating our intricate emotional tapestry with seasoned grace. Within our psyche lies an unconscious symphony, playing beneath the surface like an invisible conductor, blending past shadows with present notes. In moments of reactivity, it takes centre stage, guiding us to reflection when we listen with intent. To access this symphony, we must venture into hidden mind chambers, embracing parts of ourselves in shadows. The quickness of flame invites us to alchemy, transforming base emotions into wisdom's gold. This demands patience and introspection, a willingness to explore emotional nuance beyond surface sparks. In this endeavour, self-awareness becomes philosopher's stone, guiding delicate navigation through the fire. Recognising reactivity patterns, we step into an alchemist's role, observing without judgment and nurturing without resistance, transmuting fiery past reactions into radiant present wisdom. Our emotional experiences entwine into a tapestry of connections, threads linking us to ourselves and others. Quickness of flame emerges in relationships, where lingering wounds smoulder moments from the past. Our reactivity becomes a bridge to these unresolved stories. Understanding this dynamic transforms interactions from conflict arenas into realms of healing. Through this collective dance, the quickness of flame becomes a catalyst, building bonds of resilience and compassion. In the quiet symphony of family, the notes of childhood play on, echoing into the vast expanse of adulthood. Within the familial embrace, dynamics seed our being, weaving intricate patterns of expectation and silence that form the contours of our emotional landscape. The words spoken by parents, dripping with imperfect humanity, mingle with unspoken gestures, leaving an indelible print on our evolving self-concept. These echoes linger, repetitively shaping the refrains of our responses, reactions to life stimuli that seem eerily akin to well-trodden childhood paths. As we navigate the world with adult eyes, we may find ourselves unexpectedly transported back to these origins. A simple trigger, a phrase, a glance, can spiral us into a loop of anger or anxiety, mirroring unresolved conflicts of yesteryears. It is as if A parent's criticism reverberates in a partner's innocent observation, or a friend's casual exit mimics abandonment witnessed in youthful days. Thus, our emotional responses are not solitary notes, but part of a complex symphony composed of historical echoes, offering a chance to heal ancient ruptures. By recognizing these patterned origins, the cycle can be broken, allowing us to transmute these echoes into places of gentle healing, crafting responses from awareness rather than reflex. Long after childhood fades, the words once wielded with potency resonate, shaping the very essence of who we become. These verbal legacies fuse with the nascent self, crafting narratives that linger as whispers beneath the surface. Encouraging words may fuel a confidence that nurtures aspirations, while harsh criticisms morph into shadows of self-doubt. In the silence of growth, we sometimes hear these echoes guiding our inner conversations, dictating our emotional repertoire. Adult journeys can become realms haunted by the spectres of these words, prescribing responses with a silent, yet unwavering authority. This silent script can surface as judgmental whispers during moments of challenge, moulding interactions and reshaping perceptions. Such narratives dictate a hidden dialogue, often traced back to thoughts implanted by revered guardians. Yet when we unearth these spheres of influence, we harness the power to untether from them. Through self-awareness, we reformulate the narratives of the inner dialogue, choosing words that reflect liberation and personal truth rather than inherited constraints. Within the tender silences of childhood festers an unspoken world, equally profound in its influence. In households where emotional tongues were stilled, or where silence served as both punishment and peace, children learned to read between the lines. These unvoiced realms bred landscapes of expectation, where a quest for comprehension and worth wove its silent tapestry. Grown individuals often relive these subtle legacies, compelled by invisible weights to meet unexpressed demands, seeking validation in echoes born from forgotten epochs. When entangled in these familial scripts, stress manifests in whispers of unresolved tension. To disentangle involves an intimate journey into the depths of these silent impressions, daring to speak the unuttered and bravely articulate the hidden. In doing so, one steps into a domain of release, cultivating dialogues where boundaries are no longer shrouded in silence, but honoured through mutual reverence and understanding. Each family frames its members in familiar roles: the peacemaker, the rebel, the silent observer. These roles, forming identities woven from youthful necessity, crystallize into lifelong archetypes that shape our behaviours and expectations. When the role of the peacemaker shields a child from discord, it mutates into an adult's aversion to tension. If rebellion became a means of validation, it can lead to confrontation. Such roles, cemented in past crises, shadow our steps, resurrected in moments of modern conflict. To transcend, one must first embrace an inquiry of self-awareness, understanding the limiting roles we were once cast in, allowing a blossoming beyond the confines of those early constraints. From these roots, a flexible tapestry of identity emerges, one that acknowledges its lineage, yet chooses to embrace the flow of present potential, inviting evolution into the space once occupied by understanding alone. Parents, however, unintentionally pass their wounds onward, sowing seeds that germinate into shadowed reflections of unhealed histories. In the cradle of familial connection, an anxious parent unintentionally bequeaths fear, or unprocessed anger becomes a harsh critique. Despite intentions to nurture, the spectres of ancestral wounds slip between the layers, crafting emotional landscapes mindful of hidden legacies. By understanding the transference of these wounds, we investigate our emotional gardens with compassion, cultivating insights that release burdens of inherited negativity. Recognizing this profound, intergenerational web offers a choice: to alter rather than replicate, creating a future narrative replete with possibilities of healing and renewal. In the tapestry of belonging, crafted from tender reflections, arises the child's perception of self-worth. The approving smile of a caregiver affirms identity. Conversely, a critical gaze can unravel the fragile threads of self-assurance. These early mirrors influence our self-image, shaping responses. Reactivity drawn not from the now, but from echoes of unhealed longing. By reframing our internal mirrors, we can curiously inspect these subconscious influences, weaving new narratives that embrace inclusion and understanding. As we redraw this tapestry, our emotional responses evolve. Navigating challenges from a place of chosen beliefs, turning echoes into empowered affirmations. Amidst these histories, evolved insights beckon, calling us to embrace transformation. As childhood stories hold truth and teaching, so too do they harbour opportunities for conscious rebirth. The whispered echoes of past familial roles shift into guides for present awareness, inviting deliberate growth beyond reactive cycles. Through this transformation, sacred stories become threads in the journey, from echo to awareness, repurposed for growth and harmony. Ultimately, the powers of choice and self-reflection transform these historical echoes into empowering harmonies, guiding us into the enlightened chorus of our true, expansive selves. In the quiet recesses of our being, the body silently holds the echoes of our past, a vast archive where memories, both joyous and painful, whisper softly through sensation. Unlike the conscious mind, which can dismiss, distort, or forget, the body remembers in an ancient, wordless language. A tightened chest, a flush of heat, an unexpected ache. These sensations are not mere byproducts of stress or anxiety. They speak in echoes crafted from past experiences, rising to the surface when an emotional trigger taps into this deep well. By attuning ourselves to this bodily language, we open a dialogue with the parts of ourselves that words often cannot reach. In the haste of modern life, we frequently overlook or drown out these bodily whispers, reaching instead for distractions or remedies. Yet, embracing these sensations with mindful presence transforms them from mere disturbances into guides. The body's memory reminds us that emotional reactivity is not flawed, but a natural response rooted in wounds, longing for healing. This shift from avoidance to curiosity allows healing to unfold as we listen to the wisdom that sits quietly within us. Every moment of distress leaves its mark upon the body, a testament etched into its fabric. These imprints, when viewed with compassion and awareness, become pathways to insight. The journey from emotional turmoil to understanding begins by acknowledging the body's faithful record, an ache or a lump calling us to notice untold stories. Tracing these sensations to their origin reveals a map of our unhealed history. In aligning with the body's memory, we bridge the unconscious and conscious, deepening our understanding of our internal worlds. This exploration requires a genuine encounter with vulnerability, for its path is not easy. Confronting our shadows takes courage and patience. Yet, the insights gained are profound. As we illuminate the origins of our physical discomfort, released energy blossoms into understanding, offering spontaneous insights and emotional releases. Our bodies, wise beyond words, steer us toward healing through the very tension and discomfort we initially fear. This introspective journey illuminates the path from reactive cycles to conscious revelations. Tension, a subtle yet persistent messenger, beckons our attention to emotional undercurrents. Like a whisper on the wind before a storm, tension hints at emotional turmoil to come. Clenched jaws, hunched shoulders, or tight muscles speak of unresolved energy, inviting us to explore the emotions they signify. Approached with mindful curiosity, tension guides us through the labyrinth of reactivity, uncovering wounds longing for acknowledgement. Engaging with tension as an ally rather than adversary requires a shift in perception. With non-judgmental awareness, tension becomes a beacon, shining light on where work is needed. Through mindful practices like breathing or body scanning, we inhabit these tense spaces, fostering understanding. Each moment of tension brings an opportunity for insight, nurturing resilience and self-awareness. Anxiety often knots itself in the gut, a visceral marker of emotions without voice. More than a symptom of stress, this knot conveys a wordless story needing to be told. Beneath our awareness, it speaks, asking us to notice the subtle dance between body and mind. By attending to this knot, hidden fears and worries are revealed, shedding light on reactivity in anxious moments. Decoding this knot involves cultivating an intimate relationship with bodily signals, sitting with discomfort to let sensations unfold. Observation clarifies links between physical sensation and emotion, allowing the knot to unwind and insights to arise. We learn to trust the body, acknowledging anxiety not as an adversary, but a wise guide inviting deeper exploration. The shoulders, often bearers of our burdens, unconsciously guard against perceived threats. Tension here represents the armour we wear, rigidity shaped by past stress. By recognising this burden, we uncover how past experiences continue to influence us today. The shoulder's weight invites inquiry into what we hold tightly, shifting focus from simply alleviating tension to understanding its source, reveals how past imprints shape present. Insights arise from questions like, what am I protecting against? Through engaging with these inquiries, the shoulders speak to both trauma memory and healing possibility, fostering transformation from guardedness to resilience. The body, echoing with unhealed wounds, carries emotional stories seeking attention. Sudden, seemingly disproportionate emotions often signal intrusive past experiences merging with present reality. These echoes challenge us to discern between memory and now, reclaiming power over our responses rather than repeating patterns. This discernment allows us to untangle current responses from past scars. Practices like journaling or meditative reflection guide us through these echoes, inviting integration and understanding. Offering compassion to these memories diminishes their hold, transforming them from haunting echoes to gentle reminders of healing yet to come. The heart center of our emotional being is where vulnerability and reactivity converge. Vulnerability, with its power to connect and to wound, touches rawness in us. It prompts a protective response, fostering reactivity over openness. Yet exploring vulnerability within reactivity offers a chance to choose love over fear. In these tender moments, self-compassion becomes our ally, transforming reactivity into opportunities for deeper connection. By embracing vulnerability, we deepen understanding and expression through acceptance of ourselves. an act of love that turns emotional storms into profound growth opportunities. In the quiet folds of our human experience, emotional triggers appear as unassuming keys, unlocking doors we didn't know existed. A mere word or gesture, innocent on its surface, can sweep us away, tumbling back into the moments of our past where wounds lie quietly in wait. These instances aren't haphazard. They are meticulously preserved snapshots, residing deeply in the vault of our subconscious. They call us back not with malice, but with a deeper intention, to guide us towards healing and self-understanding. In our relentless journey through time, we find that our very being is woven into a complex tapestry of memories. Each emotional ripple is a thread in this fabric, strong and enduring. When the present brushes against these threads, it awakens memories that echo through the corridors of our mind, vividly reminding us of scenes long faded. The moments that ignite this symphony of emotional notes are seldom random. They beckon us to delve deeper, to see beyond mere circumstance and to find meaning in the echoes of our own narrative. In these moments lie not threats but whispers from our history, inviting us to recognize and reconcile with them, ultimately dissolving the boundaries between our past and present. Within us, emotional wounds rest like dormant fires, waiting for the right conditions to awaken them. These wounds, born from places of vulnerability met with betrayal or pain, leave behind scars that etch themselves into our psyche. Unwittingly, we become actors in stories crafted from our own hurt, following paths meant to shield us from reopening these chapters of discomfort. When a trigger brings us back to these sites of impact, it offers an opportunity, one not of reopening but of transmutation. By facing our wounds with compassion, we find ourselves equipped to rewrite our narratives, emerging with a fresh clarity that has the power to transform our story from one of survival to one of profound growth. Our subconscious, ever vigilant, functions as the guardian of our past sorrows. It catalogues each experience, especially those tied to significant emotional events, preserving them with a fervent intent to protect. When triggers pull us into their grasp, they do so not to harm, but to draw our conscious mind's gaze to lessons unlearned. This dialogue allows us to converse with the memories stored within us, honouring the subconscious's well-meaning protection while loosening the chains of its patterns. Through this, we step into a realm where we are free to act, no longer bound by the reflexes of our history, but guided into conscious response by a newly understood relationship with our inner protector. As we navigate the swirling currents of emotional reactivity, mindfulness emerges as our compass. It is not through suppression, but rather through gentle observation that we gain mastery over our emotions. Each trigger invites us into a silent room of self-discovery, asking us to pause, to breathe deeply, and create a moment of stillness between the impulse and our reaction. In these spaces of quiet determination, the stories that once bound us begin to unravel, revealing the roots of our deepest emotions. Through patience and curiosity, the power these triggers once held begins to dissipate, crafting a path toward resilience and growth. Reflective thought serves as the bridge that connects our emotional past with our lived present. Each trigger, as it unveils itself, beckons us into moments of stillness where patterns become visible, and truths long buried rise to the surface. It is here amidst this reflection that healing takes root, prompting a re-examination of the narratives that have shaped us. Through this introspection, we uncover a richer, more nuanced understanding of our journey, paving the way for forgiveness and transformation. By witnessing our past with eyes of compassion, we stitch together fragmented pieces into a resilient whole, allowing our wiser self to emerge and lead the way. In the realm of understanding, metaphors transform complexity into clarity. They serve as bridges where language alone would falter, casting surreal scenes that capture the essence of our emotional landscapes. By seeing triggers as symbolic messengers, we shift perspective, crafting a narrative where abstract emotions assume tangible form. Each metaphor offers new possibilities, providing the lens through which the vastness of our internal world becomes approachable and understood. As these symbols unravel before us, they invite a dialogue, a conversation that deepens our appreciation for the tapestry of experiences that have shaped us. Every trigger carries within it a story, a narrative inscribed across the vast landscapes of our lives. By recognizing this truth, we open the door to transformation, allowing us to rewrite the tales that govern our emotional responses. Through conscious reflection, we become both the author and the subject of our lived experiences. This realization empowers us to shift from narratives steeped in fear or hurt to those of resilience and growth, ushering in a self-directed evolution that redefines our path forward. Through intentional dialogue with our inner storyteller, we carve a narrative that reflects healing and unconditional self-love. As we come to embrace triggers, they reveal themselves not as barriers but as sacred invitations, portals leading us into deeper healing and understanding. By shifting our view, these historical snapshots transform into gentle guides through the intricate web of our emotional and psychological being. With reflective practices and mindful engagement, we reclaim our power from the grip of reactivity, transmuting it into conscious choice. Each moment births a deeper understanding, inviting us to emerge whole and autonomous. And so, with grace and openness, we find our way, reshaping our inner landscape into one where peace and resilience take root, guiding us towards the full potential of our human experience. In the quiet spaces of our consciousness, there exists an inner courtroom where voices of judgment echo, sculpted in the tender years of our youth. It is in this intimate theatre where shame and fear play their endless reenactments, a script drafted long ago when guidance was scarce and criticism abundant. The world in its unyielding manner becomes an external tribunal, imprinting judgments upon young hearts, tones of disapproval, the ghostly echoes of dismissiveness, craft narratives that cling to us, much like the shadows that autumn leaves cast in the late afternoon sun. As we journey through life's winding paths, it's crucial to recognise that the pangs of shame and fear are not isolated to the present. They are echoes from a distant past. When met with judgments instead of kindness, a child internalises these wounds, birthing an inner critic that shadows every venture. This critic, far from being an ancient whisper, speaks with the immediacy of now, undermining self-worth, casting doubt even before daylight breaks. But by tracing these threads back to their source, we begin the delicate work of unravelling their hold on us. The fear of vulnerability is woven intricately into the fabric of our reactivity, like an exquisite yet complicated tapestry. We yearn for connection, for the embrace of authenticity, yet fear the exposure of our raw selves to the scrutinising eyes of the world. Vulnerability wears the mask of weakness in this inner courtroom, persuading us to construct emotional defences, prisons that isolate and protect while restricting our ability to engage honestly with the world around us. The ceaseless dance between fear and shame often leads to reflexive defences, a practiced choreography in the absence of genuine threat. We present facades, shields for our tender cause. In this courtroom, we become adept critics, anticipating judgment and constructing narratives built on foundations of fear. Yet a pathway of courage emerges, a willingness to confront our inner assumptions, learning to embrace vulnerability, not as a weak point, but as a human rite of passage towards deeper connection. To transform this inner arena, we must shift our internal monologue from one of defence to one of dialogue. Patience, akin to an ancient river, is required, guiding us to engage without an immediate verdict of inadequacy. Inquiring into our responses, probing the depths with kindness, we redefine the territory, no longer bound by the harsh dualities of judgment. The inner judge, in its misguided attempts to shield our hearts, transforms into a figure of understanding. Through this gentle unravelling, the essence of reactivity is illuminated, a signal of stories yet to unfold. Shame, that corrosive force, crafts a lens, turning our reflections into scenes of inadequacy. Each encounter within the inner courtroom embellishes shame's reach, casting a veil over our inherent worth. Early brushes with shame colour future interactions, nurturing a narrative of flaw. To dissolve its roots, we must peer into its shadows and see with clarity born of understanding. A tale told not by our true nature, but by external imprints. In doing so, we transcend limits, rewriting the scripts with threads of growth and acceptance. Fear, a primal whisper echoing through our evolution, ignites reactivity like a match meets kindling. In this courtroom of emotions, fear anticipates judgment, setting the stage where the mind stands on high alert. It draws from the spectres of history, triggering defences. Yet in this readiness, we lose the gentle ground that invites thoughtful response. By reimagining fear, not as foe, but as a sage with secrets to share, we embrace its lessons. Mindfulness, a steady companion, guides through stormy seas to observe without haste and reclaim agency from the tempest. Emotional resilience, the quiet strength to navigate storms with grace, arises not in absence of reactivity, but through compassion's tender embrace. Resilience is the quiet advocate that tempers judgment's bite. Self-compassion emerges as an elixir, reminding us that emotions, once unyielding, are invitations to explore. By soothing rigidity with empathetic inquiry, we dismantle long-held barriers, opening paths towards genuine healing and growth as sunlight pierces an ancient canopy, revealing shades unknown. Triggers, those silent muses of the past, are keys to realms of personal history. Yet instead of viewing them as failures, let curiosity be our guide. As we unearth the stories behind our reactions, we find narratives once shrouded in secrecy. This endeavour becomes a dance of discovery, a transforming of the courtroom into a canvas where each line is an invitation to deeper awareness. With an open heart, each emotional tidal wave becomes a guidepost towards self-understanding. In this journey, mindfulness acts as a lantern, illuminating pathways of self-awareness and grace. Through mindful presence, we step outside the courtroom's confines, observing without attachment. Here, judgment's grip loosens, allowing room for compassion's voice. Mindfulness crafts a sacred space for reflection, where the inner judge is met with curiosity. From this vantage, we find liberation, facing life's orchestra with grounded poise. Empathy becomes the cornerstone, tenderly bridging judgment and understanding, allowing us to rewrite once haunted narratives. With compassionate eyes, we acknowledge how past shadows have shaped our reactivity, celebrating resilience and honouring our journey. Through empathy, our inner critic transforms into a supportive ally, guiding growth rather than hindering it. In this transformation, we write new stories, filled with wholeness and acceptance, letting emotional landscapes flourish. Cultivating wholeness dissolves the rigid structures of the inner courtroom, honouring the interconnectedness of our experiences. Beyond judgment, we find authenticity and foster an understanding of emotions as guides, not jailers. Embrace the entirety of self, welcoming light and shadow alike, and embark upon a journey of exploration. Beyond confines, find freedom in resilient authenticity. Here, discover life anew, woven by an intricate tapestry of emotional symphony, boundless in its potential to illuminate the essence of being. In the whispering corridors of our psyche lies a timeless dance, projection. This ancient mechanism, a film projector of the mind, casts shadows of internal conflicts onto the world outside, sketching images of our deepest, unvoiced struggles. When one fails to embrace the discord within, that disharmony spills beyond the self, transforming everyday interactions into battlegrounds of the unseen. Carl Jung, the gentle guide into our souls, revealed how projection is an intrinsic ritual of human nature, springing from our reluctance to meet the complete self. It's here, amid the tapestries of unspoken fears and buried emotions, that misunderstanding finds root, entangling us in a ballet of turbulence. As one embarks on the path inward, down the winding trails of subconscious landscapes, the roots of projection begin to unfurl. Here resides the shadow, a keeper of all things unrecognisable and unnamed. In our haste to escape discomfort, we label others with qualities too painful to confront within ourselves, like anger we aren't yet ready to claim. But the moment we choose to see these projections as guideposts rather than truths, a luminous roadmap to healing emerges. Comprehending this allows a gradual dissolving of chaos, inviting relationships bathed in clarity and truth. Every relationship, neighbour, or stranger becomes a mirror, catching reflections that whisper of the concealed self. What irritates or wounds in another often echoes the childlike cries of disowned parts of us. Take a moment perhaps to engage with the idea that each heated interaction is a sacred signal, a chance to turn inward, like noticing the fear of neglect projected onto a partner's perceived indifference. Through these reflections, we encounter the tender song of our spirituality, transforming discord into whispered invitations for introspection and healing. Even in mundane exchanges, the choreography of projection unfolds its elegance, painting the world's canvas with hues drawn from our inner palettes. Consider the raging storm that brews on a highway, born of frustration and a sense of powerlessness hidden deep within. When eyes are open to these silent scripts, a vast narrative of awareness unfurls. And through this awakening, we are invited to nurture gentle separations between our emotional landscapes and outer experiences, crafting paths paved with understanding and empathy. Sometimes we find in projection the echo of timeless archetypes, the victim, the sage, the fool, all shadows framed by forgotten tales of the past. These are the holders of unfulfilled dreams and untended wounds, brought forth into the day as characters walking in the lives of others. One might continually bump into challenges with authority figures, perceiving them as tyrannical manifestations of unexplored personal shadows. By daring to face these ancient themes, we embark on a profound voyage, a journey to reknit the fragmented tapestry of self, weaving ourselves into a broader narrative of potential. Yet the potential for projection to hinder the flight of our being exists until we embrace every fibre, light and shadow alike. Upon the acceptance of all these fractured parts, the need for projection dwindles, replaced by a serenade of self-love and understanding. This tender acceptance demands compassion, patience and introspection, as neglected aspects of our soul step into the glow of consciousness, freed from societal chains. Here, beneath layers of shame and guilt, resides the bittersweet note of true self-acceptance, a key that unlocks peace and a genuine engagement with the world. Establishing firm psychological boundaries becomes a dance of sovereignty, a delineation of worlds, a gentle wave acknowledging our needs and the reality of the other. These borders, when softly held, provide sanctuary from the tides of projection, granting us authority over our emotional domains. With firm yet velvet-soft boundaries, we tread the lines between all that is shared and individual, weaving connections that honour both depth and individuality. The art of self-reflection, much like a tender meditation upon a still pond, reveals the subtle play of light and shadow within. Through delicate practices that evoke contemplation, projection sheds its binding form, revealing clarity and awareness in its place. Pausing to reflect on painful encounters, we begin to see the role of projection's mystique, shining light upon the tapestry of interlocked perceptions and reactions, freeing transformation and illuminating paths shrouded in secrecy. With compassion guiding our hearts, the gossamer threads of projection weaken, their power supplanted by kindness and a resolve to seek healing rather than harm. The stories hidden within others' behaviours beckon us to look beyond the surface, discovering the shared mythologies of human experience. Embracing compassion seeds assembly grounds, making room for the growth of self and others, advocating for boundaries forged not in judgment, but mutual respect. Finally, the revelation of projection as a profound force for growth encourages an embrace of its lessons. As the teacher in disguise, projection unwraps the gifts of spiritual insight, prompting an inward dive beneath superficial pain. Within these depths lies self-discovery, resonating with the transformative call of authenticity. Once fragmented narratives mend under gentle inquiry, projection metamorphosizes from adversary to an ally of evolution, illuminating the boundless possibilities of human potential. Thus, embracing the full spectrum of self becomes a sacred commitment, a silent journey toward wholeness, adorned in the gentle embrace of projection's shimmering truth. In the quiet moments when emotional tempests rise, we can engage in a sacred practice of observation, inviting our senses to linger, to simply notice. Within the heart of chaos lies a symphony of sensations, perhaps a quickened heartbeat, a tightening of muscles, an overwhelming urge to react. These are the whispers of reactivity, the precursors to an automatic dance we know all too well. Yet in this moment of gentle observation, a precious pause opens, inviting us to breathe in the storm without altering its course, allowing emotions to reveal themselves untamed and untouched. As we practice becoming a compassionate witness to our lives, we stand alongside, rather than within, the whirlwind of emotion. It requires trust, a belief in our capacity to cradle discomfort without succumbing to it. Slowly, these tender observations carve out a sanctuary within us, illuminating hidden pathways beneath turbulent waves. patterns once buried begin to surface, revealing the delicate weave of our emotional story. In this revelation, we glean a truth perhaps long overshadowed. We are not the storm. Our emotions, transient as morning mist, pass through us. To embrace this truth is to engage with our emotions rather than drown within them. We become the sky that holds the tempest, the constant amidst the swirling chaos. With such insight comes a gentle detachment, a chance to let other, deeper parts of ourselves emerge from the shadows. Practicing this separation is a journey of awareness, reminding us that emotions do not define us. Visualize yourself as a steadfast tree, roots entwined with the earth as the wind sweeps through your branches, unyielding and serene. Emotions flow through us, revealing their teachings, patterns emerging from past echoes, unmet needs, or ancient fears. Embracing these lessons is embracing growth, and in that shift lies the liberation from the cycle of reactivity. Yet to witness effectively, one must make peace with the unconscious landscape, embracing its shadowed corners without fear. These aspects of self, often rejected or hidden, hold power only when they lurk beyond our awareness. Acknowledging them uncovers their roots, perhaps old wounds seeking recognition. No longer adversaries, they become vital threads in our journey toward wholeness. Acceptance is not approval, but acknowledgement, which transforms resistance into a dance with curiosity. The winds of reactivity are decoded, revealing messages from the psyche's depths. Insights bloom, awareness deepens, the tapestry of reactivity unravels into its constituents. This shift enhances our presence amidst upheaval, birthing a welcoming awareness that peers beyond the veil of immediate discord. Judgment often clouds this witnessing, with critical voices shaped by societal norms, equating emotion with fragility. The child within, judged and silenced, clamours for release. But empowering ourselves lies in conscious unlearning, reclaiming our narrative from the shadow of judgment. Our emotions are natural, deserving of recognition. Indeed, they are the songs of our humanity. Kindness toward ourselves becomes our compass, dismantling judgment with gentle dialogue. Practice extends this empathy toward others, fostering a shared understanding, dissolving interpersonal strife. Judgment fades, replaced by clarity, revealing reactivity as an invitation, not a definition, but an opportunity to discover hidden needs and truths. In these tempestuous moments, our breath anchors us, a rhythmic guide amidst emotional swells. Through conscious breath, we root ourselves in presence. The breath calms the body, whispering a tranquil melody, heralding genuine observation, unshackled from knee-jerk reaction. Anchored in breath, we travel emotions' currents with a conscious heart, transforming wild surges into moments of clarity. Our breath becomes an ally, unfurling the intimate dance of self-discovery, illuminating emotional landscapes with each heartbeat, constant, reliable, a steadfast friend. This breath cultivates precious space between stimulus and response, a sanctuary to pause and choose with intention. Viktor Frankl spoke of this sacred pause as a nexus of liberty and growth, urging us to choose our response, not react. Within this pause, curiosity replaces certainty, wisdom blooms from mindfulness. As we nurture this space, life unfolds with responsive grace. We gently engage with the world, cradling reactivity's promise of evolution, the latent seeds of transformation waiting within every impulse. Emotions greet us as teachers, not adversaries, unveiling lessons tucked within their depths, challenging us to ask, what wisdom does this emotion carry? With humility and openness, we invite transformation, where emotions become allies in our personal odyssey, illuminating our psyche's rich landscape. In this realm of inquiry, each emotional encounter deepens our understanding. We are apprentices to our own inner experiences, interpreting emotional cues to foster growth. Through curiosity and compassion, we excavate hidden truths, revealing pathways to healing long overdue. Mindfulness aspires to be both guide and companion, integrating into our daily rhythm. Through meditation and conscious living, awareness blossoms, weaving observation and non-judgment into the fabric of every day. Our practice builds resilience, framing our inner world with acceptance, cultivating a presence that embraces life's full spectrum. Our path leads us to create an inner sanctuary, a refuge within life's chaos. This mental space becomes our retreat, home to peaceful contemplation amidst turbulent emotion. It manifests as a cherished memory, an image of tranquility, a constant place to which we can retreat. Creating this sanctuary imbues us with serenity, rooting us in our steadfastness. Within this haven, balance is restored, our spirit nurtured. Each return fortifies its presence within us, an intimate touchstone amidst the storms. Witnessing emotions, we walk the path to freedom, stepping through reactivity's veil, embracing the expanse of our true selves. In awareness, we recognize the lantern lighting our journey, a beacon towards responding with profound authenticity. Here within this realm of emotional freedom, we find ourselves answerable to life's call, no longer as mere reactors, but as participants in a mindful, inspired dance with our human experience. Emotions, in their fleeting nature, beckon us to wander through wisdom's tales, guiding us to live freely and fully. On the path of self-discovery, we embark on an intentional descent into the shadowed realms of our own mind, where echoes of past wounds linger like whispers in a forgotten chamber. It requires vulnerability, an open-hearted willingness to step beyond the superficial clamour of daily life and engage in an authentic dialogue with our wounded self. Picture yourself wandering through a dimly lit library of the soul, each book a chronicle of experiences, a fragment of what has shaped your being. This sacred conversation demands empathy, courage, and a readiness to listen to the messages hidden in these dusty corridors. With every step inward, we leave behind the distractions of the outside world, embracing a profound stillness that allows the whispers of the past to surface at last. Answers do not come quickly here. Instead, the journey beckons us to ask questions long ago silenced. As we wander through these hallowed halls of memory, we invite our wounded self to disclose the truths lodged deep within the shadows. We become caretakers of our inner child, the part of us that once faced life with unguarded trust, only to encounter hurt and misunderstanding. Engaging with this self is a pledge to radical honesty, aimed not at assigning blame but at fostering understanding and healing. It is a gradual unveiling, peeling back layered defences to let the buried emotions breathe and reconnecting with essential parts of the self. Through gentle presence, this becomes a sanctuary where the wounded self finds voice, recognition, and ultimately the chance to transform. Opening the door to our wounded self introduces us to an initial silence, a landscape devoid of the usual clamorous thoughts and actions. Beneath this quiet lies a voice, subtle yet profound, yearning to be recognized. It carries the weight of unmet needs and unexpressed emotions, echoing in disconnection and frequently manifesting as emotional reactivity. By inviting this voice into our awareness, we engage in profound self-compassion, acknowledging that these past pains deserve to be voiced. It involves deep listening, an openness to what this wounded self needs to communicate. Rather than silencing discomfort or fear, we allow these emotions to have their say, inviting the truths to emerge in their own time and form. This process involves recognizing the inner child's call for recognition, that essential part of us seeking reassurance and love. Often, in moments of emotional reactivity, this child, bearing both youthful innocence and profound wisdom, emerges to voice its unmet needs. Instead of silencing its cries, we listen, fostering a dialogue filled with empathy and compassion. We meet this child's call by affirming its presence and allowing it a space for expression without judgment, a testament to its worthiness and validity. Our journey leads us to ask the right questions, gently peeling back the layers of accumulated thought and emotion. We start by inquiring, what pain are you defending? This exploration goes beyond reactive behaviour, probing deeper. As the dialogue unfolds, we ask other questions. What do you need to feel safe? What have you been afraid to express? Through these inquiries, we preserve a connection built on trust and understanding. As emotions, long suppressed, rise to the surface, we hold space for their release, crafting an environment free from judgment. Imagine this as a sanctuary, where feelings flow without interference, swelling and receding like tides. Holding space means not fixing or analysing, but witnessing, providing the wounded self with the freedom to express and heal. We embrace vulnerability, which, far from weakness, becomes a cornerstone of transformation, standing in our humanity and realising our wounds enrich rather than detract from our worth. Through compassionate self-talk, we soften the inner critic's harshness, nurturing ourselves with empathy and love. This practice is not avoidance, but a commitment to seeing ourselves through a kinder lens. It disarms defensiveness, inviting openness and receptiveness. By speaking to ourselves with compassion, moments of reactivity become opportunities for growth, as we validate the inherent worth bestowed upon us not by perfection, but by the very act of being human. Reparenting emerges naturally, nurturing both parent and inner child within ourselves. It involves giving care, protection, and guidance formerly absent, not to apportion blame, but to fill a void left by unmet needs. Reparenting fosters emotional maturity, responding rather than reacting, reflecting instead of projecting, embracing the emotional landscape within us. Through this we mature, becoming guardians of our world, with lives mirroring our wished-for presence. In this sacred exploration, we transform wounds into wisdom, a journey of redefining pain into insight. Our scars evolve, reshaped into wells of understanding and compassion. We learn that wounds, far from hindrances, are integral to healing. This journey integrates past truths into the present, offering resilience and a richer self-understanding. By embracing our history, each wound unfolds into a narrative of hope and wholeness, inviting us to author new stories within the embrace of our evolving self. In the gentle flicker between impulse and action lies a sacred path toward transformation. This is where reactivity can turn into response, a journey that calls us back to our own centres. In moments when emotional triggers mount an ambush, a mindful presence becomes our refuge. These triggers catching fire in our bodies, a swift tightening of the chest, a rush of breath, whisper their tales. Noticing these signs without casting judgment creates a quiet moment where choice begins to bud. This slow flowering heralds our departure from the automatic into the conscious, a place where decisions spring from insight rather than instinct. Embodying this pause takes us into the depth of our own physicality, where intentional practices help the body remember safety. Deep, deliberate breaths are a gentle lullaby to the storm within, signalling that refuge is near. Imagine yourself atop a mountain, gazing upon the landscape of your emotions, grand and serene. As the breath sweeps in and out, it traverses the emotional contours, softening rigid cliffs and etching paths for understanding. This practice both quells inner tempests and grounds us in the world around, crafting a harmonious dance between self-awareness and calm action. Finding our way back to the body's wisdom anchors us in the present moment, balancing past echoes with future whispers. The whirlwind of emotional reactivity often tears us from the here and now, thrusting us into realms of bygone or imagined turmoil. Yet, simple acts, feeling the earth's strength underfoot, acknowledging a chair's supportive embrace, sensing the weight that is ours, draw us back to this centre. In movement, too, lies grounding. Through yoga or tai chi, the body and chaos align, letting pent-up energies flow through purpose, rather than pent-up fury. As we walk this path, naming emotions transforms them, giving voice to their formless cries. Language, wielded with gentle precision, is a powerful companion. These feelings that seem vast and undefined slowly shrink to manageable size once we dare to name them. Anger, sadness, fear. By pinning them down with language, we build a bridge, guiding emotions from chaos to clarity. With names, these emotions become less an unwelcome tide and more a passage, offering insight into our deeper selves. Thus, each emotion tells a story, inviting inquiry rather than fear, and paving a road from reaction to reflection. Our bodies, eternal archivists of experience, hold keys to transformation through somatic practices. Breathwork, progressive muscle relaxation, and body scans turn a gentle light on forgotten wounds, inviting them into awareness without overwhelming us. This dance with ourselves does not demand perfection but presence, nurturing what was neglected. As tension releases, new patterns emerge. Responses crafted from awareness and choice over fear and reflex, fostering a dynamic that guides response over reaction, integrating equilibrium into our very essence. Meditation greets us as a sacred pause within, inviting us to explore the sanctuary of stillness, where reactivity finds its antidote. This simple presence with our thoughts and feelings is a profound engagement with the now. Without the need to change, judge, or flee, sitting with our emotions births a powerful defiance against immediate reaction, creating space for careful engagement with our emotional landscapes. The mind, in this serene state, becomes a canvas for life's intricate stories, transforming reactivity into but a fleeting brushstroke, one of many, across a vast expanse. Reflection follows as a mirror to our souls, capturing life's nuanced variations that evade initial perception. Through softly curious questioning, why did I react this way? What shadows lingered in that moment? We delve deeper into the psyche. Here understanding germinates, swelling into transformation. These reflective trails lift reactive veils, weaving moments of growth from what once seemed setbacks, moulding clarity from unconscious tides. Engaging with the realm between conscious and unconscious minds bridges disparate landscapes within us. The unconscious, a silent director, shapes reactions drawn from buried memories and neglected shadows. Through journaling, dream interpretation, and self-inquiry, we engage these hidden depths, unmasking the desires and fears sending ripples through our consciousness. Building this bridge invites a dialogue between realms, revealing reactivity as a guide to understanding, breaking patterns for renewed freedom. Environmental and relational influences form emotional tapestries around us. As creatures bound to environment and connection, the spaces and energies around us profoundly affect our inner landscapes. Discordant surroundings easily spark reflexive response cycles, highlighting the importance of cultivating serene environments. Relationships mirror our internal worlds, and each thoughtful interaction teaches pause and understanding, helping weave interactions that inspire transformation. In the end, acknowledging imperfection as fertile ground for growth reframes our journey. Within this acceptance blooms humility, tilting the ego's grip toward honest development. Each emotionally unfurled moment grants us lessons, enriching our paths and inviting us to rewrite narratives, holding us from responsive action. Embracing reactivity is like holding hands with an ever-present muse, crafting a narrative woven from choice and awareness, directing a life steeped with intention, balance, and meaningful connection. In the quiet glow of introspection, self-reflection acts like a gentle mirror, revealing the hidden layers of our emotional responses. The flare of reactivity points not to flaws, but rather invites a tender journey into the shadows of past experiences. It's as if we're peeling back the skin of an onion, each layer whispering stories of childhood wounds and unsaid truths. This exploration isn't one of harsh judgment, but a compassionate inquiry into who we truly are beneath the defences we've mounted over time. As we embark on this inward quest, challenges transform from daunting obstacles into opportunities for growth and healing. Our emotional reactions, once viewed as threats, now serve as beacons, guiding us to unresolved echoes within. Embracing this journey shifts us from acting on impulse to responding with clarity and peace. In these reflections, we uncover an empowering truth. Our past need not dictate our present. The mirror of self-reflection, then, becomes a tool of enlightenment, illuminating both shadows and the light that dwells within, cultivating resilience and fortifying our lives with authenticity. Healing historical wounds requires patience and empathy, honouring the delicate art of uncovering what has been buried beneath layers of self-preservation. These emotional injuries, seeded in times when our fragile selves had insufficient defences, manifest as reactive flares of emotion. Healing involves acknowledging these past experiences without the burden of running or hiding from them. It's about creating a sanctuary in our minds where old wounds can be tended without fear or shame, a sacred space where past hurts are not wielded as weapons against ourselves, but are instead met with gentle understanding. To heal is to become vulnerable once more, willingly stepping onto the path we long avoided. This very vulnerability, our deepest fear, holds the key to true healing. While initially daunting, surrendering to this softness is crucial for unlocking emotional freedom. By sitting with our wounds and allowing their stories to unfold, their hold on us diminishes, their power fades. Healing becomes an act of grace, extending forgiveness to ourselves and those who have harmed us, thereby releasing the chains tethering us to past pain. In this release, we find fluidity in our emotions, allowing us to dance more freely in the present. Memories weave through our consciousness as dynamic threads, linking past to present in an ongoing tapestry. As we seek to integrate unhealed histories, curiosity and care guide our unravelling of these threads. Each memory, holding the essence of our formative years and occasionally distorted by passing time, offers insights into the environments that shaped them. Revisiting memories isn't reopening wounds, but providing context, reframing them in light of the growth that has since occurred. In this unravelling, we discern the narratives constructed around our experiences. Often rigid, these stories bind us to traumas and constrict our journey forward. By questioning them, we liberate ourselves, allowing new perspectives to flourish while honouring our history. Our past isn't erased, it's reclaimed and woven into a tapestry that supports our current and future selves. Through this reimagined weaving, we glean a more profound appreciation for lessons once buried, but now lighting the way forward. The transformative alchemy of emotion is akin to transmuting the leaden weight of reactivity into the golden light of wisdom and responsiveness. Transformation begins with acceptance, greeting emotions without resistance, recognizing the triggers sparking reactivity. By allowing emotions to exist freely amidst a safe internal landscape, Comparable to an alchemist's primal elements, we harness the raw material of our feelings. Mindfulness and introspective practices refine this process, ushering in awareness that shifts emotions from automatic responses to conscious choices. The choice lies at the essence of emotional alchemy, the conscious decision to transcend old patterns, embracing actions aligned with our genuine selves. Through this metamorphosis, our emotional histories aren't obliterated, but distilled into personal strength and insight. The journey we embark upon is sacred, transforming past wounds into sources of wisdom. As we traverse the path of self-compassion, an internal bridge forms, uniting fragmented pieces of our experience. We first recognise harshness within ourselves, where inner critics supplant kind voices. Self-compassion invites us to cradle imperfections with grace, nurturing an internal environment ripe for healing. As we cross this bridge, viewing ourselves as whole beings deserving of love, resilience blooms and empathy for others emerges. Holding space is an artful practice, creating a haven where emotions, thoughts and memories reside without judgment. Cultivating this sanctuary shelters vulnerability, encouraging tender observation of inner dialogues without dismissive thoughts. It's an invitation to allow each arising element to weave naturally into broader self-understanding. This practice of holding space allows the balance between action and stillness, nurturing insight and transformation. Our narrative is a living mosaic, continually reshaping as we craft a story of resilience. By revisiting stories held dear, reframing them to emphasize growth, we create a resilient identity fortified by past experiences. Adversity becomes a testament to our journey, not a constraint. This narrative celebrates strength, embracing vulnerability, with setbacks merely stepping stones. In the end, life is a dance, a captivating interplay between shadow and light. With courage, we turn towards shadows, recognizing them for the fullness they bring to identity. Accepting shadow parts releases energy long tied to repression, channeling it into life-giving pursuits. The light of awareness illuminates obscured strengths, uncovering creativity and resilience. In this dance, shadow and light become entwined in harmonious wholeness. As our journey unfolds toward wholeness, we embrace every aspect of identity with compassion. Aligning thoughts, emotions, and actions with our deepest truths, we journey beyond fragmentation. Wholeness celebrates imperfection, inviting authenticity to guide us. In our path to wholeness, liberation emerges, a place where true selves flourish. Thank you for listening, and if this journey resonated with you, consider liking and subscribing for more sacred storytelling.